Okay, for our next lesson, so ang ating topic today is the photographic film as well as the photographic paper, so to be discussed later. Sabi ko nga, let's talk about first the photographic film. We're in, diba, in the middle of the 19th century, yung history na napag-usapan natin, wherein nandun yung evolution or yung progress kung paano ba na-imbento si camera as well as the process itself, kung paano mag-develop ng negative para magkaroon tayo ng positive images, and ano ba yung mga chemicals and medium na ginamit natin. So, di ba, as you can remember, nearly all the process that involved during that time, the use of those silver nitrate and the other chemicals were made into two steps. So, meaning to say, kailangan mo pang gumawa. Kailangan mo pang mag-undergo ng process or ng steps dun pa lang sa pagkakaroon mo ng medium as well as the chemicals na kakailanganin mo para ma-coat or ma-sensitize yung medium na gagamitin mo to be light sensitive. Such as the wet collodion process, di ba, wherein kailangan mo yung plates, di ba, you have to pour first onto the plates yung chemicals na kailangan mong gamitin, and you have to develop it before it dries. So meaning to say, yung plates na yon nilagyan mo ng chemical, so nilagay mo kay camera obscura, and then right after, bago pa matuyo yung chemical na nilagay mo doon, which is the silver, kailangan mo i-develop agad-agad. So ano yung pinapatungkulan natin dito? Sabi ko nga kanina, maraming steps dun pa lang sa paggawa mo ng medium mo or dun sa film or dun sa chemicals na kailangan mong magamit in order for you to capture an image, di ba? And those invention or those processes is a combination of experiments done by several people. Tulad ng nabanggit ko nung una, the invention of photography was built on experiment after experiment of those several people na tinutukoy natin. And most part of it is the English inventors na tinatawag natin. Di ba, wherein sa Europe, sila karamihan. Wherein nandun sa France, meron sa England, meron sa London, and so on. So now, again, the photographic film na pag-uusapan natin is malaking tulong talaga during that time na sabi nga natin maraming process na ginagawa. So now we have this kind of film, aside from the digital cameras na meron tayo na malaking tulong din naman talaga, pero the film itself is the foundation of the photography na meron tayo, yung isa sa pinaka-success ng photography, wherein you no longer had to be a professional and know those basic or those chemistry behind photography. The mixture, the chemicals, and so on, hindi mo na kailangan magpakadalubhasa sa chemistry or hindi mo na kailangan maging professional pa in order for you to take a photograph. Because you could actually do it yourself through the use of this film. You can take your cameras everywhere, wherein si film, isasalpak mo lang kay camera. And during those time, it opened up a field of photography from the general public. Kasi nga, hindi lang yung mga professional yung may kakayahang mag-take ng photograph nung naimbento tong photographic film. Again, wherein nung simula kasi, kailangan mo pang mag-mix ng gantong klaseng chemical na hindi naman lahat kayang gawin. So, kailangan mo lang bilhin, di ba? Kailangan mo pang gumawa ng sarili mong mixture and so on para lang makagamit ka ng camera through the use of those plates and chemicals para lang makapicture ng image, o kailangan mo pang magpa-take ng picture sa isang professional para lang makuhanan ka ng photo. So again, it opened up a field of photography from the general public and for anyone to capture all the different moments of their life. So yan yung use ni photographic film noon hanggang sa ngayon, kasi kahit again na may digital cameras tayo, marami pa rin gumagamit ng gantong klase, the manual camera with those film cameras. Mas prefer nila yung gantong klase ng camera kasi sabi nila mas maganda daw talaga naman yung resulta nung developing process as compared to those printed photographs that is a product of the digital cameras na meron tayo ngayon. So, depende na lang yan. Again, first topic natin is the photography film. Okay, photographic film. It is a sheet of plastics coated with a silver halide emulsion which contains a silver halide salts that are bonded by a gelatin. So, mamaya madidiscuss pa natin yung composition ni film, but when we talk about the technical definition ni film, again, it is a sheet of plastics, diba? As compared dun sa unang medium, glass, plates, and so on. Etong si film natin is a sheet of plastic that is coated. So, ang chemical natin sa ating film is a silver halide emulsion. So, ito si emulsion layer natin sa pinaka-top layer ng ating film, wherein ang kanyang chemicals that is light sensitive na responsible for the capturing or recording an image is the silver halide salts. Ito, the silver halide salts. So, imagine that this is the emulsion layer. Yung mga black dyan na parang mga dots or mga crystals na sinasabi nga natin, yan si silver halide salts na responsible for the capturing or recording of image. Kasi yung silver halide na yan, yan yung sensitive kay light that are bonded by gelatin. So again, si gelatin yung nag-hold or the gelatin is used to hold those silver halide salts in an emulsion layer. So gelatin yung responsible para maging stable or maging suspended or maging intact si silver halide salt sa ating top layer ng film or yung emulsion layer na tinatawag natin. And most of the photographic film na kung saan si gelatin, most of the gelatin na ginagamit natin is gawa po yan sa animal hides, boiled crushed bones, and connecting tissues na nabanggit ko na nga nung una na mainly galing sa cows and pigs. So, people have tried to come up with the substitutes, diba? Kasi diba marami nagrereklamo bakit kailangan gumamit or pumatay pa ng mga animals just in order for them to make a film. But they haven't been able to find anything that is suitable and just as stable or cheaper than the gelatin na gawa dun sa tutukoy nga natin na connecting tissues, the crushed bones ng mga animals, and so on. And so, again, the photographic film na pinag-uusapan natin is chemically reactive material that records or fix or still image through the action of light. So, alam nyo na naman yan, gas-gas na yan. Si photographic film, siya ay reactive or chemically reactive. Once tumama si light kay film, nire-record niya yung image na na-capture through the use of camera, again, through the action of light. Kasi without light, hindi ka makaka-capture ng scene or ng subject mo or ng image na kailangan mong i-take. So, sabi nga natin, di ba, without light, it is useless. The photographic film is useless because there is no medium to record the light. And so primarily, the function of film is to record the image, focus upon it by the lens of the camera through the action of light. So, wag malito. Next, the recorded image now is known as the latent image. Nabanggit na natin yan ng una. Yung recorded image natin through the action of light, pinindot si shutter ni camera, nag-register, tumama kay lens, pumasok kay lens, tumama kay film. So, yung recorded image na tinatawag natin, na na-record kay film natin, or kay photographic film na tinatawag natin, is called as a latent image. Wherein, sabi nga natin, latent image is not visible on the film o hindi kayang makita ng tao at first. So, you cannot visually distinguish the exposed film to the unexposed one. So, imagine that this is a new film. Kung siya is titignan mo, wala siyang pinagkaiba dun sa gamit mo ng film. Kasi sabi nga natin, kahit na nagamit mo na yan, totally wala kang makikita na kahit anong bakas ng subjects mo, ng scenes na kinuhanan mo. Kasi again, yung magre-record dyan at first is a latent image or invisible image. So, even if it has changed physically during exposure, kahit sabihin natin may changes na nangyari dyan kasi nag-react si silver halide salts kay light, wala ka pa rin munang makikita. So that change can be made visible if the film is treated chemically, which is known as the film developing or yung developing process na tinutukoy natin. Kung maaalala nyo or mapapag-usapan pa naman natin yung susunod. So when the chemical change has taken place, diba, now the latent image became our negative image. Take note, negative image wherein yung negative na term, diba, at first film yung tawag natin sa kanya, the photographic film. Now, yung tawag natin ngayon sa kanya kapag siya is nag-undergo na ng developing process, ang tawag natin kay film is negative. And the image, and then the image itself, from latent image, ang tawag sa kanya now is negative image. Again, si photographic film, tawag natin sa kanya yan. Unexposed film, ang tawag sa kanya. Now, kapag siya is nagamit na natin and then na-develop na natin, ang tawag natin ngayon kay film, o to be specific dun sa strips ng film na meron tayong kanya-kanyang subjects na nakuhanan or yung lumitaw na image, ang tawag na kay film is negative. And then yung lumabas na image kay film, ang tawag sa kanya is negative image. Again, from photographic film, ang tawag sa kanya is negative. From latent image, ang tawag na sa kanya is negative image kapag siya is na-develop na. So now, the image now become visible. Sabi nga natin, from latent, dinevelop, naging visible or naging negative image na. And the tonal values of the visual image are the inverse in the tonal values of the subject. So nabanggit ko na sa inyo yan ng una. Wherein the black simply becomes white and the white becomes black. So generally, or to simply explain, di ba, dark object, as you can see, di ba, ito na yung ating developed film. O, ang tawag na sa kanya is negative. The dark objects or the dark portion appears light or bright, appears white on the negative. So imagine that ito yung mas darker dun sa scene or dun sa subject na kinukuhanan mo. If this is the darker side or area sa iyong scene, it appears light or white on the negative. And then those light portion or areas dun sa iyong subject or dun sa scene or yung object na kinukuhanan mo o yung mas lighter na portion or area, iyon yung nag-a-appear na dark sa ating negative or dun sa ating negative image. Again, inversely. Yung tonal value niya is inverse. So, kung ano yung mas maliwanag dun sa subject mo o dun sa object na kinukuhanan mo o yung brighter area or portion ng iyong kinukuhanan, yun yung mag-a-appear na mas madilim kay negative mo. At kung ano yung mas madilim na portion dun sa kinukuhanan mo or yung mas darker na color dun sa kinukuhanan mo, yun yung nag-a-appear na white or lighter part dun sa iyong negative. So yun siya. Kung as you can see here, ito yung mas brighter kasi sky to, imagine. Morning yan, sky, maliwanag, white or blue, sky blue. So it appears black sa ating negative kasi yun yung mas brighter na area. And this plant, imagine for example, yan ay dark green kasi yan yung halaman or kaya green, mas madilim na portion ng area mo. So, it appears white kasi again, the darker area or portion sa iyong subject, sa iyong scene, it appears the white or the whiter or the lighter area dun sa iyong negative image or sa iyong negative. So, that is the photographic film. Okay, next is the basic components of film. So, photographic films are composed of several layers wherein napaunahan na nga natin kanina about the emulsion layer. So, A regular photographic film used for black and white photography is made up of the following components, which are the emulsion layer, the base, the anti-halation backing, and then mamaya meron pa tayong additional. So first, discuss muna natin si base. The base of the film is made up of cellulose acetate, can be transparent, pwede siyang translucent, or even opaque. Kasi ang kanyang primary function lang is to support the emulsion in place. So this is the emulsion layer, yun nasa pinaka-top layer natin, that is light sensitive. Eto si base sa baba niya kasi the base acts as a support medium for the photosensitive emulsion that lies on top of it. So, siya lang yung sumusuporta kay emulsion layer na nasa ibabaw niya. It is the thickest of the layers which support the others or the other layers na meron tayo. To be specific, the emulsion layer na nasa ibabaw niya. Again, its primary purpose or function is to support the emulsion in place. Next is the emulsion layer o yung photosensitive portion ng ating film, wherein again, it is a thin layer of gelatin na nabanggitin natin kanina, containing the light-sensitive silver halide salt crystals. The size of the halide crystals determine the sensitivity, the contrast, resolution of the film. So, madidiscuss natin yan sa mga susunod na topic about the sensitivity of film and so on. So, for now, ang trabaho ng emulsion layer, sabi nga natin kanina, it is the part of the film that records the image by physically reacting to light that reflects from the scene or the subject being photographed. Ito yung nagre-react kay light kapag tumama sa kanya at ito yung portion na kung saan nagre-record yung image natin. So, ang tawag natin sa ating emulsion layer, ito po is yung heart ng ating film. Kasi ito yung pinaka may trabaho sa photography, di ba? Lalo na sa ating developing process para magkaroon tayo ng negative image to positive image na tinatawag natin. Again, the emulsion layer is composed of light-sensitive materials that is suspended in gelatin substance. So, ito yung gelatin natin. Yan yung nag-hold kay chemical natin that is light sensitive, which is the silver halide grains. Yung mga dots na yan or yung crystals na tinatawag natin. Again, emulsion layer, andyan si silver halide crystals or grains na tinatawag natin that is light sensitive. Si silver halide crystal, light sensitive, that is capable or that is responsible, for the capturing of or recording of image, wherein ang trabaho lang ni gelatin is to hold those halide crystals. Diba? Again, wherein si emulsion layer, in general, it turns black when exposed to light. Kasi nga, nag-react si silver halide crystal kay light na nag-capture ka ng image. So, when the light reflects from the white area, yung tinutukoy natin, tumama yung light, yung camera, kay scene, yung lighter portion or lighter area nung kinukuhanan mo, the crystals, etong silver halide grains, turn from gray to black. Again, yung brighter area or lighter part o lighter portion ng kinukuhanan mo, yun yung mas nagre-react at yun yung mas nagto-turn as from gray to black. And conversely, the black or the darker areas na kinukuhanan mo, it reflect little light or no light at all. So, the silver halide crystals do not turn black in areas representing dark areas of the scene or the subject. Kaya naman white yung nagre-register na color niya sa ating negative. Yung tinutukoy nga natin kanina. So, in short, the silver crystal in black and white film do not turn completely black when exposed. Kasi yung nagre-react lang at nagiging color black sa ating silver halide grains are those lighter area na nire-reflect ni light sa ating film. So, yung nag-react na yan, di ba? Yung tinutukoy natin kanina, nag-turn into black. We have now the lighter portion and the darker portion sa ating negative. Again, ang tawag natin doon is the latent image. So, sa emulsion layer, dyan mo makikita si latent image. I mean, hindi mo makikita, dyan mo matatagpuan si latent image na mapapalabas mo lang, diba, magiging negative image kapag nag-undergo ng tinatawag natin na developing process. That is the emulsion layer. Next is the anti-halation backing. The anti-halation backing layer is primarily a part of the photographic film to prevent reflection of light from the base into the emulsion or the bouncing back of light. Diba, tumama kay film. Ang mangyayari dyan kung walang anti-halation backing, babalik yan sa naunang layer. So, ano yung mangyayari? Masisira yung iyong film. Again, this is the bottom layer, di ba? Bottom layer of a sheet of the film that is very dark in its color. That prevents the halation. When we say halation, the spreading of light or to be specific, the reflecting of light beyond its proper boundaries. Kasi dapat yan, ina-absorb lang ni film si light. Kasi pag nag-reflect yan, babalik kay emulsion layer at masisira again or magre-react again yung ating silver halide crystals. So, it prevents light, diba, from passing through the film as well as, again, the reflecting back ng light. It only absorbs the light that reflected that penetrated kay film, thus preventing the light from, again, reflecting and causing the halation na tinatawag natin or yung the spreading of light beyond its proper boundaries. Kasi dapat yan, diretso lang kay film hanggang bottom layer niya at ina-absorb lang dapat. At yun yung trabaho ni anti-halation backing. Wherein, itong portion na yan, again, this is the anti-halation backing, yan po ay nawawala, it washed away during the film processing. So, nawawala po yan during the film processing. Again, yun yung trabaho ng anti-halation backing. Next is the overcoating. Okay, review lang natin. This is the emulsion layer. Andyan si light sensitive compound. Ito si base. Nagsusupport kay emulsion. Ito si anti-halation backing, which is black, diba? A very dark color material that prevents the halation or the spreading of light or reflecting of light papalik kay emulsion layer. Now we have this additional, which is the overcoating. So, nasa ibabaw ni emulsion layer. So, ang kanyang trabaho is it is a protective sheet made of gelatin that protects the film from physical damage like scratches or abrasion from development. So, ang trabaho lang niya from the term itself, overcoating, para ma-coat yung emulsion layer, the top layer, at para maprotektahan ito. So, it is a top layer of the film which protects the fragile or yung mas madaling masira or madamage na portion, which is the emulsion layer, from human hands. Or, to be specific, during a developing process. Kasi once na yan ay hinawakan mo ng hinawakan and ginamit mo ng ginamit during the developing process, masisira at masisira yan. So, without this protective coating, masisira ang ating image. So there is an oily substance, di ba, alam naman natin yan, sa ating kamay or dun sa ating skin, that if transferred to the emulsion, would definitely ruin the film. So, anything aside from the hands ng tao, dun sa oily hands ng tao or dun sa iba pang bagay na pwedeng makapag-damage dun sa film, ito yung trabaho ni overcoating. The protective coating, again, para maprotektahan yung emulsion layer, para naman during developing process, kung ano yung nakuhanan mong scene, yun pa rin yung lumabas. Kasi mamaya, hindi mo pa nga nade-develop, nasira mo na agad. So again, it protects the emulsion from minor scratches and abrasion, and as like with the anti-halation backing, it also washes away during the film processing. So nawawala rin yan during the film processing. And then lastly, we have the non-curl coating. So, the non-curl coating is the hardened gelatin layer applied to the back of the film. And its function, is to prevent the curling of the film. Kasi alam naman natin kung gaano kanipis si film. And once kasi na nabasa yan, it swells. The emulsion layer or the film in general swells during processing. And the film tends to curl. So, magkukurl at magkukurl yan. So, this, again, the non-curl coating, is a hardened gelatin, diba, that is about the same thickness as the emulsion layer and is applied to the back of the film. So, nasa ilalim siya ni anti-halation backing. So, ito siya. Nasa ilalim siya ni anti-halation backing. Again, diba, si film kasi, nag-swell yan kapag basa. And it also shrinks when dried, pag natuyo. This contraction produces strain on the film base because it is highly flexible. Sabi nga natin, di ba, yung roll film natin is a flexible sheet of plastic. So again, ang job ni non-curl coating is to prevent the film from curling during the drying process. Kasi kapag nabasa yan, mag-i-swell, and then kapag pinatuyo mo, dun yung tendency na mag-curl siya. And then we have this non-curl coating to limit or to totally ma-restrict yung film from curling. So, yan po yung ating 5 basic components or properties ng ating film. Again, we have the emulsion layer, wherein nandyan si photosensitive compound. Yan yung layer na nagre-react kay light. Diyan nagre-register si image, si base. Nagsusupport kay emulsion layers, anti-halation backing. Nagpe-prevent para mag-spread si light or mag-bounce back si light kay emulsion or dun sa top layer natin. The overcoating, maprotektahan sa emulsion layer, hindi masira si latent image or si negative image na madadevelop mo. And then the non-curl coating para maiwasan yung pag-curl ng film kasi ito po ay flexible. So, yan yung ating 5 components of the black and white film. Okay, next is the properties of film. In short, yung characteristics or traits ng ating film na pinag-uusapan. First is the film speed, wherein ang pinag-uusapan dito is the extent to which an emulsion is sensitive to light. So, the film speed, in short, dictates how much light the film needs. To be specific, the film speed is the sensitivity of the film itself to light. So, each film kasi, meron niyang kanya-kanyang film speed. And each speed na tinutukoy natin, may kanya-kanya yung sensitivity to light. Meron bang mas mabilis mag-react kay light or mas mabagal mag-react kay light? Yun yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. So, each film speed is best suited for different type of photography. Sabi ko nga kanina, each film, meron niyang kanya-kanyang speed. So, each speed is meron niyang kanya-kanyang use sa field ng photography. Meron dyan sa sports, pwede mong magamit kasi mas mabilis mag-react kay light. Meron dyang normal lang na type ng film na pwede mong magamit sa normal occasions and so on. So, mas madidiscuss natin yan ngayon. So, as you can see here, di ba? For example, mamaya madidiscuss pa natin yan. 100, slow film. 500, mas mabilis. So, ibig sabihin, may kinalaman yung laki ng number dun sa speed niya. The lower the number, the slower the film, and then the higher the number, the faster the film is. At the same time, the larger the grain, imagine that this is the emulsion layer at ito yung silver halide crystals sa ating emulsion layer. The larger the silver halide, di ba? The faster the film is. Base lang muna dito, pero madidiscuss pa natin yan. And then the smaller the silver halide, we have the finer grain, yun yung mas mabagal na film o mas mabagal yung kanyang reaction kay film. Kaya naman, the slow film, like this 100 ASA or ASA, it is usually used or best suited to bright light condition. Kasi diba, dahil nga mabagal yung kayong reaction kay light, kailangan mas maraming ilaw or mas maganda yung lighting condition kapag ito yung gamit mo. Kasi mabagal mag-react, so dapat mas maraming supply ng light. So, ito naman kay fast film, di ba? It is best suited and best used to low light condition kasi nga mabilis na nga siyang mag-react. And then marami pang supply ni light, ma-overexpose ang iyong film. So, mamaya mas madidiscuss pa yan. So, again, as you can see here, based on the illustration, the slower the film is, meaning to say mas mababa in numbers. The faster the film is, mas mataas in numbers. And then the larger the silver highlights, kasi may iba-iba pa yung sizes sa emulsion layer, yung ating silver crystals, mas malaki yung silver highlight or yung crystals, mas mabilis yung kanyang film. Mas finer o mas maliit yung silver highlight crystal, mas mabagal yung kanyang film o yung kanyang sensitivity kay light. So, meron po tayong dalawang general types to be specific when we talk about the speed ratings. Pero meron lang tayong isa which is the ISO, the combination of these two. But we have again two general types of film speed. First is the American Standard Association or the ASA or the ASA. So, basahin muna natin. This is expressed in arithmetic value, so in numbers system. The speed in numbers is directly proportional to the sensitivity of material. So, sinasabi nga natin, the number itself is directly proportional. The bigger the number is, the faster the film is. The lower the number is, or the smaller the number is, the slower the sensitivity of the film speed or the film itself to the light. So, a film with an arithmetical value, for example, yung film with the value of 400 is 4 times as fast as one with the speed of 100. Okay, another example. The 100 rating or the film speed, So, the 100 needs twice as much light as 200. So, the 200 is more faster than the 100, diba? So, meaning to say, si 100 film speed or the film na ginagamit natin need twice as much light as the 200 film. So, meaning to say, kasi si 200 is said to be one stop faster than the 100 ASA rating. Kasi nga, mas mabagal to, automatic, as compared to 200, si 100, mas kailangan niya ng the double or twice the light as the film with the film speed of 200. Another example, 200 naman needs twice as much light as 400. Same lang din. Twice as much light as the 400. Kasi si 400, diba? 2 stops, diba? 2 stops faster than 200. Si 400 is 2 stops faster than 200. So, as compared to the 160, diba? Half light of the 1.6 kasi it is much faster. So, 1.6 as compared to the 3.2, it needs twice amount of light as compared to the 3.2 kasi mas mabagal si 1.6 kay 3.2. And then the 3.2, diba, as compared to the 100 film rating, it is 5 stops faster than 100. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, 3.2 is 5 stops faster than 100. So, again, etong film speed naman natin na yan is standard. Each film companies, meron naman yung standard na speed ratings na kung saan, again, numbers lang yan. Wherein those number is directly proportional on how sensitive the film is to the light. The higher the number, automatic yan. The faster the film is, and then the lower, the smaller the number is, mas mabagal of course yung kanyang sensitivity kay light. Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin na bakit pa may mas mataas, bakit pa mas may mababa, kasi nga sabi natin kanina, may kanya-kanya yang use sa field ng photography, wherein si 100, yan is most commonly used na ating film rating or speed. Si 400, yan is popular na yan na fast na film. Same as with the 1 and the 600, of course, napakabilis niya na film rating or film speed, na kung saan pwede mong magamit, di ba, during sports events, di ba, na kung saan kailangan mong mag-capture ng moving objects or moving subjects sa Olympics, tumatakbong players, di ba, naglalaro ng basketball and so on, swimmer, yan po yung kanilang film na ginagamit. The higher the film rating, the best suited for the moving subject. Kapag normal condition naman, doon ka lang sa normal na speed rating, which is the 100. So, yan po si film speed. Again, ang pinag-uusapan pa rin natin dito is the photographic film na ginagamit sa mga manual cameras or yung film cameras as compared to the digital cameras, as compared to the digicams na hindi naman kailangan or hindi na ginagamitan ng film. So, ito po yung kanyang one of the characteristic na each film, again, ay may kanya-kanyang speed or the extent to which the top layer or the emulsion layer is sensitive to light. So, each film has its own sensitivity to light on how faster or how slower its reaction or its sensitivity to light kapag nagtitake ka ng photo. Next, speed rating is the DIN or the DIN, the Dutch Industry Normen Rating. First, again, we have the ASA or the ASA. Now, we have the DIN or the DIN or the Dutch Industry Normen Rating, wherein ang kinaibahan lang naman niya is it is expressed in logarithmic value system, wherein in this system, an increase in the increase of 3 degrees double the sensitivity of the film. So, kulang lang yan, 12 degrees, 15, 18, and so on. So, again, ang kinaibahan lang nito kay ASA or ASA, yung kanyang increase in each speed is meron siyang 3 degrees each speed rating na increase every speed rating from 12, 13, 14, 15. So, the 12 is slower than 15 kasi si 15 is higher film speed or speed rating. 15, 16, 17, 18, 3 degrees higher or increased. So, again, 18 is much faster than 15. 21 is much faster than 18, 24, 33, and so on. So, yun lang din siya. Kung ano yung application ni film speed kay ASA, ganun din naman. Ang pinagkaiba lang niya is on how the numbers, diba, represent the speed of each rating. So, yan si Dean. So, again, the higher the number, of course, the faster the film, and then the lower the number, the slower the film speed, or the lower the sensitivity of the film to light. And we have now the ISO, wherein it is a combination of the ASA and DIN. So, application na lang din yan. So, the International Standard Organization Rating. So, again, mayroon din kayong maririnig or mayroon din tayong madidiscuss na ISO or the ISO, the sensitivity of the camera sensor daw, the camera sensor to the light. So, mayroon pa yung kaibahan kapag digital cameras na yung pinag-uusapan natin. ISO sa film speed, it is the combination lang ng ASA and DIN. And kapag ISO, kapag digital cameras ang pinag-uusapan, somewhat related, pero iba pa yung pag-uusapan natin dyan sa mga susunod na topics. So, application, di ba? The slower the film, application, slower speed film. We have the 32, 64, 100 ASA ISO, 200, medium, 400, fast, 800, 232. So, kapag mabagal yung iyong film speed, di ba, mas kailangan mo of course ng light. Mabagal na nga. So, dapat maraming light yung kailangan mo para mabilis yung reaction or mas makapture mo, yung image. The medium film speed that you have, at least depende na yun sa subject na kinukuhanan mo. You can work with more light or less light or yung neutral lang. Nasa middle ka lang ng lighting condition. Kapag fast speed film naman ang meron ka, mas kailangan mo of course ng less light. Bakit? Mabilis na nga yung reaction ni emulsion layer kay light. So kapag mas marami pang ilaw yung supply mo, mag-over-expose yung iyong film. So dapat less light yung available kapag ikaw ay mag-take ng picture or ng image using the fast speed films. So the slower the speed film, maraming ilaw ang kailangan, and then in application dun sa properties ni film, di ba? Yung kanyang emulsion layer, mas finer yung grains or yung crystals na meron ka. And then the medium or dun lang sa middle, di ba? You can work now less light or more light, depende na lang yan sa subject mo or dun sa object mo or dun sa scene na kinukuhanan mo. And then with regards to the properties of the film or the emulsion layer, yung film grain mo is medium lang din. Katamtaman lang din. O yung crystals mo sa emulsion layer is katamtaman lang din. And then kapag fast speed film naman yan, again, less light yung kailangan mo kasi mabilis na nga siyang mag-react kay light. Mas marami bang ilaw, ma-overexpose again. And then, with regards to the grain, dun sa crystals na meron ka, the larger the silver halide grains or crystals yung meron ka sa top ng emulsion layer. So, yan po yung ating film speed na pinatutungkulan. Again, the film speed measures how quickly film reacts to light. Kung gaano kabilis or gaano ka-sensitive si film kay light. At may iba-iba pa po tayong speed rating at may iba-iba yung use sa ating field of photography. Okay, another characteristic ni film or na properties ni film aside from the film speed, may tinutukoy din tayo na spectral sensitivity. So, yung sensitivity ni film with respect to each wavelength in the spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum. Kasi each film is may kanya-kanya lang yang kayang i-capture na light dun sa ating electromagnetic spectrum. Kaya lang ba niyang i-capture within the visible spectrum, which is the colors of red, blue, and green? Kaya niya bang magamit sa X-ray, sa UV, or sa infrared photography yung film? So, yun yung tinutukoy natin na spectral sensitivity. Each film, again, is may kanya-kanyang sensitivity with respect dun sa wavelength, dun sa spectrum na tinatawag natin. Film is not equally sensitive to all wavelengths, to all colors. Again, kasi yung film, hindi yan equally sensitive sa lahat ng wavelengths, to be specific sa lahat ng colors. So, one of the characteristic of film, itong si spectral sensitivity, that must be taken into account in selecting film for the use with specific screens and cameras. So, minsan, hindi rin to gaano na bibigyan ng focus, lalo na yung mga hindi naman ganun karunong sa photography, wherein nakadepende na lang kung gaano kabilis mag-react si film kay light, wherein may kanya-kanya tayong film na magagamit. To be specific, pagkapag infrared film, di ba? Kung gusto mong mas maganda yung quality, di ba? Kung gagamit ka ng infrared film, and then so on. Mamaya madi-discuss natin. First is the blue sensitive film. Type of film sensitive to UV rays and blue only. So, be specific lang tayo dyan. Si blue sensitive, siya is magagamit mo lang or sensitive kay blue light and kay UV. Diba? As you can see, this is the visible wavelength or the spectrum. Andito si UV, andito si X-ray, andito si infrared. Si UV below the violet, si infrared above the red. O again, blue sensitive tayo. Yung sensitivity naman, yung sensitivity ng film is kay blue light only. Dito lang kay blue light. And kay UV. So, kay blue light hanggang kay UV sa ating electromagnetic spectrum. Wherein, di ba, sabi nga natin si blue light within the 400 and 500 nanometer. So, ito lang siya. Yan lang yung kailangan tandaan. Film that is sensitive to blue light only and UV. So, yan lang yung kanyang madedetect kapag ginamit mo siya. And as a result, ito yung magiging itsura. Sensitive to blue light and UV rays. From this portion hanggang makaabot ka kay UV ray. We have the blue sensitive film na sensitive lang sa kanila. The orthochromatic film. Film which is sensitive to UV rays. Sensitive rin kay blue and green color. But, hindi siya sensitive kay color red. So, it can be handled under red light without being damaged or fogged. Kasi nga, hindi siya sensitive kay red color. So, they are insensitive to light. So, anything red would turn black. Kapag kinuhanan mo yung isang scene, yung isang subject that is color red, it would turn into color black. So, this is a black and white or orthochromatic film. So, automatic yan kapag ang kinuhanan mo, sensitive lang si film dun sa portion that is color blue-green and then the UV rays. At kapag yan ay color, kapag yan ay color red, automatically, magiging color black yung portion na color red. Orthochromatic. So, as you can see here, di ba? Hindi siya sensitive kay red light up to the infrared spectrum. Sensitive lang yan from the blue-green up to UV ray. That is the orthochromatic film. Next is the panchromatic film. The type of film which is sensitive to UV rays. So, sensitive kay blue, green, and red color. So, meaning to say, sensitive from UV to all colors. So, the visible light rays is nakakapture niya. So, visible to all, di ba? As compare kanina, eto, red tong damit na to. Dahil siya ay orthochromatic, nag-turn siya into black. So, again, panchromatic, sensitive to all colors, kaya siya ganyan. Sensitive kay UV. As compared to orthochromatic, again, kanina, hindi siya sensitive kay red. So, yung red portion ng subject mo, nag-turn into black. So, panchromatic, all the visible spectrum, nakaka-capture niya, as well as the UV. Pero kay infrared, hindi pa rin siya pwede. So, orthochromatic, anything that is red, would turn into black. Or panchromatic, all the visible light, nakaka-capture niya as well as the UV light. And kapag colored, yan yung itsura niya. Again, diba? As you can see here, color red. So, it turned into black. Panchromatic, yung black portion kanina na dapat red, na-capture pa rin. But again, black and white kasi. So, yan yung kanyang result. At kapag colored picture naman yan or colored film, yan yung kanyang itsura. Okay, last is the infrared film. Wherein, di ba, kung kanina nagagamit kay UV, kay all colors, now, sakop na rin niya si infrared rays. Wherein, di ba, si infrared is above the red color of the visible spectrum. So, a film that is sensitive to UV, to all colors, and infrared rays. So, it is first used during World War I by the US government to improve the aerial intelligence or the photography through haze. Sabi nga natin yung nung una, diba, the infrared light can penetrate haze. Diba? Kaya nga niyang ma-penetrate yung mga subjects, makita kung ano yung binit niya. Yung mga secret writings, diba? The secret paintings, kaya niyang ma-penetrate yung haze, the dust, o yung pollution sa paligid mo ng mas detailed at mas yung wavelengths or yung longer wavelengths mas kaya mong makapture that is invisible to our eyes or yung invisible light na hindi natin nakikita. Again, na kaya niyang i-capture. Kaya naman yung resulta ng kanyang mga negative, ng kanyang mga positive image is maliwanag or maganda. I mean, totally high resolution, maganda yung contrast, and sobrang nakaka-amaze. So, tulad niyan, infrared film ang gamit niyan. So, mas finer yung details, mas higher resolution, mas maganda. And usually, yan yung ginagamit ng mga photographers natin kapag, for example, wedding, prenup shoots, and so on, wedding photography, and other events. Kasi mas kaya niyang ma-penetrate yung haze, mas maliwanag, and then so on. Okay, another example is this two images na kinuhanan but using different film wherein sa left, sa kanan, the infrared film ang ginamit wherein sabi ko nga kanina, makakapag-provide ka talaga or makakapag-produce ka talaga ng high quality na product mo or ng photograph mo. Kasi yung kayang i-cater ng film mo is the longer wavelength than those visible light o yung colors na meron tayo. So, kaya niya pang makita or ma-record yung light that is higher or that is longer than the visible spectrum, which is the infrared wavelength na nga na tinutukoy natin, which is 700 and above. Kaya naman ganyan yung kanyang kayang ma-provide or kayang ma-produce na image ng ating film or ng ating infrared film as compared to the ordinary film na yung visible light lang yung kayang ma-cater, yung kayang ma-record. At ganyan yung itsura niya. Kaya naman sabi ko, kadalasan kapag manual cameras or the film cameras yung ginagamit kapag mga occasions o yung mga shoots, mga wedding photography and so on, ginagamit nila si infrared film. Mas maganda yung register, mas maganda yung produkto, mas maganda in short yung photograph na mapoproduce nila. Okay, the last property is the granularity and graininess of the film. So this refers to the size of the metallic silver grains that are formed after development of unexposed film. So take note of that. Pinapatungkulan natin dito or yung pinag-uusapan na natin is the metallic silver na na-produce natin during the developing process. So si silver halide crystals is nag-react na kay developing chemical natin. Di ba, nag-react muna siya kay light, na-record si latent image, and then nag-undergo ng developing process, naging metallic silver. At yung grains na pinag-uusapan natin dito sa granularity and graininess of the film is yung grains na na-produce na natin once na na-develop na natin si negative film. I mean, na-develop na natin si photographic film at nag-turn into negative or yung negative image na natin. So, granularity and graininess of the film. So, silver halides, crystals, in unexposed film. So, yan pa yung itsura niya kapag siya is hindi pa ginagamit. So, once na siya is na-expose na, so ganyan yung magiging itsura niya once na nag-react na siya sa light and sa chemicals natin. So, ano yung pinag-uusapan natin dito? Diba, the light-sensitive emulsion of the film contains numerous minute crystals. Diba, yung tinutukoy natin. The emulsion layer, marami dyang crystals or the silver halide salt or the crystals na tinatawag natin na nagre-react when exposed to light. And the crystals na tinutukoy natin ay tinatawag na grains. And then the term graininess is applied to film in the accumulation of these crystals. Diba? It refers to the tiny particles that are formed, na na-formed into clumps, diba, to the film o yung negative as a result. Ano ba yung naging resulta? Ano ba yung metallic silver na naging resulta natin? Mas finer ba? Mas bigger ba? Diba? And so on. Wherein, di ba, sabi nga natin kanina, the slower the slower the speed of the film, the finer the grain yung meron tayo. And then the faster the film or the speed rating is, the bigger the grain is. And as a result, kapag nag-take tayo ng photo, ganun din naman siya. The finer the metallic silver yung mapoproduce natin, and then the bigger the metallic silver crystal yung mapoproduce natin kapag faster yung film. So in short, again, the granularity and graininess ng film, it is the texture or the optical texture ng process film natin o yung negative na tinatawag na natin due to the presence of metallic silver. Diba na na-develop from silver halide na naging metallic silver at lumabas na yung ating image. So yun po yung ating granularity and graininess ng ating film. It's either how big the metallic silver na na-produce or how fine the metallic silver na meron tayo. So as you can imagine, di ba, ito po ay parehas na subject, parehas na camera, magkaiba ng film. The finer the silver halide crystals, the lower the film speed. So as a result, mas finer yung kanyang resulta. The bigger the silver halide crystals, the faster the film is. But the problem is, the bigger the grains yun na po-produce natin at ganyan yung itsura niya. So yan po yung granularity and graininess of the film. Meron siyang ganyang characteristic na nakaakibat. Kapag mas mabagal, mas maganda, mas maraming ilaw ang kailangan, yan yung magiging resulta. Kapag mas mabilis, so dapat low light condition and so on, but ito yung magiging resulta niya. Ito naman ay black and white. Pag colored naman yan, hindi ganyan kakita yung kanyang grains sa pictures or sa photograph, I mean. Okay, next, how film works. Paano ba nagtatrabaho si film para tayo magkaroon ng negative image into positive image, I mean from latent to negative to positive image. Ano yung trabaho ni film? Paano siya nagtatrabaho? So assuming, di ba, again, we are talking about the most basic sense about film and how it works. Basic lang tayo dito. First, try to imagine na eto si film. You took some film, you cut it, di ba? Mahaba yung film strip natin, kinat mo siya, and then you look at the side of the film with the use of microscope. Ito yung side niya. Hindi yan yung ibabaw niya. Side, kunyari yan ng film nyo. Kung kunyari kumuha kayo ng piece of paper dyan, tingnan nyo yung side ng paper nyo, hindi yung ibabaw ng paper nyo. Kaya lang naging ganyan kalapad kasi tinignan mo under the microscope. Nasa ibabaw si emulsion, si base, and then nasa ilalim si backing. Again, assuming that ito yung layers ni film. Diba? So, generally, again, it is a plastic base. And on top of this is the layer of gelatin, again, with a lot of silver halide crystals na sensitive kay light. So, when we have the light source, it's either the sun or other light sources, such as the bulb and so on. So, when the photons or the light, when we say photons, yan yung basic unit of all light, when the photons travel through the camera lens and nag-hit siya, kanino tatama? Pumasok kay camera lens, nag-hit kay crystals, or to be specific, kay film, what can happen is they're going to change, they're going to chemical change which cause its property to change. Dahil nga, tumama si light, si photons to be specific, kay film, pumasok kay camera lens, tumama kay film, magkakaroon ng chemical reaction which cause its properties o yung properties ng film to change. So, enough photon hitting the crystals over and over again will trigger them to change, which causes them to turn in the shade of black. Yun na ngayon nangyayaring reaction. So, habang may tumatamang light kay film or the light striking the film, nagre-react. While the film receiving enough photon para mag-register kay film, nagte-turn into black yung silver halide grains natin. Pero again, hindi pa yan kita ng ating mata. So the bright areas again receive tons of photons, causing it to turn black. Again, kasi nga 'di ba, yung negative natin, merong white portion, may dark portion. Bakit nagiging ganon? Kasi yung bright areas o yung light areas, yun yung mas tinatamaan or yun yung mas nagre-receive ng tons of photons. Mas maraming photons or light yung tumatama sa kanya, kaya naman it causing it to turn black. Mas nagre-react si silver grain sa kanya kasi lighter part yung tinatamaan, so mas maraming light, mas nagiging black yung silver halide crystals. Diba? So, sa kabaliktaran niya, the shadow or the darker areas, yung tinutukoy nga natin kanina, few photons lang yung tumatama sa kanya. Kasi nga, darker, di ba? The shadow part ng area na kinukuhanan mo, few photons were coming and hitting the film, so it didn't turn dark. Ang nagiging black lang sa ating silver halide grains is yung focus ng subject natin wherein light yung kanyang color or mas brighter. Kaya naman nagiging dark yung ating silver halide crystal. So that is the basic way in which films operates. Tumama si light kay film, tumama si photon to be specific. Yung lighter area, yun yung mas nag-turn into color black. Kaya naman yung nagre-register kay negative image, black yung lighter portion ng area mo, ng subject mo. And then, white or lighter yung nasa negative image mo kasi yun yung mas darker na portion or yung shadow portion ng iyong area that which receive a few photon or konting light lang yung nare-receive nila as compared to those bright objects or bright areas, nagre-receive of course sila ng mas maraming light. So, too much light, di ba? It will overexpose the film. So, causing it to go fully black or kaya naman sobrang liwanag. Diba? Kahit dahil nga maraming liwanag, mas madilim, nasobrahan sa liwanag, madilim na yung magiging resulta ng negative image mo. Aside from sobrang dilim, pwede rin yung maging sobrang liwanag. Overexposed, wala ka nang makita kundi sobrang light or liwanag nung negative image mo. With the underexposed naman natin, di ba, too little light yung nare-receive o yung nag-register o yung na-receive ni film will underexpose the film, di ba, causing it to leave a little or no image at all. Di ba, resulting in a thin negative or yung muddy na itsura or grayish print na hindi ganun kaliwanag, hindi rin naman ganun kadilim, pero yung itsura niya is parang muddish, parang brown, parang grayish, and so on. So, madidiscuss pa naman natin yan. Again, kapag overexposed, it's either too dark, wala ka totally makita na image at all, or too light, same lang din na wala kang makitang image at all, sobrang liwanag lang, or sobrang sobrang linaw, sobrang liwanag, nung negative image na nakuhanan mo or nang nag-register kay film. Underexposed, makikita mo kahit papaano si image, but yung itsura niya medyo muddy, medyo brown, medyo grayish yung print ng itsura niya. So that is the overexposed, underexposed, and how film works through the action of light, through the use of the camera, pumasok kay camera lens, and the film layers, which is the emulsion layer na kung saan nandun yung light sensitive compound natin, which is the silver halide grains or crystals na tinatawag natin. Okay, next is the photographic paper. So, si photographic paper natin has a same emulsion katulad nung ina-apply natin sa photographic film. So, same emulsion is applied to photographic paper and instead of sheet of plastic, di ba, as compare kay photographic film. So, same emulsion lang, kay film lang, sheet of plastic. Kay photographic paper naman, paper ang gamit natin, which is a paper coated with light-sensitive chemical. So, photographic paper is a paper coated with light-sensitive chemicals. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, same emulsion lang yung meron siya. So, kung ano yung composition ni film, ganun din yung composition ni photographic papers natin. So, it is exposed to light in a controlled manner, either by placing a negative in contact with the paper directly to produce a contact print. Di ba yung pinag-uusapan natin noon pa, through contact printing nung sinaunang panahon, dun lang sila makakapag-reproduce ng image. Na kung saan we have the negative, which is the first end product natin, para makapag-reproduce ka, contact printing, ididikit mo siya onto another sheet of medium para mailipat mo or para ma-reproduce mo lang yung image mo. That is contact printing. Diba? At the beginning of photography, we have the negative and positive. A negative has to be the same size as the print you want to make, and that's because they are contact printed. So, kung ano yung size, diba? Kung gusto mo na malaki yung maging positive image mo, gumamit ka ng malaking negative film or ng medium mo. Kung gusto mong maliit lang yung iyong negative image, gumamit ka ng negative na medium na maliit at ganun din yung magiging positive image mo. So, nakadepende yung sizes ng positive image mo dun sa medium na ginagamit mo. Kasi nga, contact printing yung ginagawa natin. So, the negative is actually placed, diba? And touching the paper, that becomes the final print. So, ganun yung contact print na tinatawag natin. Again, we have the negative. So, example na lang ngayon dito. Ina-apply pa rin naman siya gamit ang ating roll film. Kung gusto mong maliliit lang talaga. Imagine that ito yung films natin. Kinat mo na siya and then gusto mo siyang ilipat sa piece of paper. So, contact printing, ilalapat mo siya. Imagine na nasa ilalim niya si photographic paper, ilalapat mo lang siya. Contact printing yung tawag doon. So, kung gaano din kaliit yung image niya kay negative mo, kay film mo na na-develop, ganun lang din kaliit yung matatransfer kay photographic paper. At yun yung tinatawag nating contact print. And as the photography progresses, di ba, nagbabago at nagbabago naman yan. We become able to enlarge a negative. So, from this, kung gano'n lang kaliit yung negative image mo, gano'n lang din kaliit yung matatransfer mo through contact printing. So, we have now this kind of enlarger na kaya mong mapalaki ngayon yung image. Kahit na gaano kaliit yung film mo, kaya mo siyang ma-print onto different sizes of photographic paper. So, diba? You can put it into an enlarger and make a bigger print or picture of it. And then, there is no longer contact printing na ginagawa natin. Kasi, eto si film, mapapag-usapan pa natin yan kapag diniscuss ko yung parts na enlarger at yung function niya. Imagine that nandito si film, ito si light. So, same lang din ng nangyayari kapag ikaw ay nagtitake ng image. Tinamaan si film o yung sa subject mo ngayon, so nagre-register siya ngayon kay photographic paper mo. So, ganun yung kanyang trabaho. Ito si film carrier. Imagine that andyan si film. Ito siya. And then we have the light na tumatama kay photographic paper na nandito. So, ganyan yung way para ma-transfer mo o ma-reproduce mo si image at ma-enlarge mo si image. As compared to contact printing again, na kung ano lang yung size ng iyong or ng medium mo, your first product, ganun lang din yung magiging size kapag kinontact print mo. Again dito, through the using of maliit na strip ng film, di ba? Kaya mo siyang mapalaki through the use of enlarger. At hindi na contact print yung ginagawa natin. So again, mapapag-usapan pa natin yan sa susunod. That is the photographic paper. You have types of photographic paper according to chemical contents. We have the chloride papers. So these sensitive papers are suitable for contact printing. So alam nyo na what is contact printing, which yields warm toned images by development. So iba-iba lang ng composition, iba-iba ng use, at iba-iba yung nagiging resulta. So si chloride, diba, suitable for contact printing, at yung kanyang resulta is warm toned images by development. So when we say chloride papers yung gamit natin, kapag pag warm yung image or yung tone ng image, diba, it results to a yellow or to the brownish or to reddish na tone ng kanyang image, diba, as yellowish, diba, to reddish or to brown tone of images. So it is most less sensitive than bromide paper. So less sensitive siya, kaya mas applicable lang siya or suitable lang pag contact printing. So hindi niya kaya or hindi siya katulad ng bromide and chlorobromide papers na capable of using sa enlarger or dun sa enlargement ng ating negative images. So example, ordinary photo. Using the chloride papers, sabi nga natin kanina, it yields or it gives a warm tone of images, maging reddish or yellowish or brown yung kanyang itsura o yung kanyang tone ng print. So chlorobromide, containing blend of silver chloride and silver bromide salt. So kailangan lang naman tandaan yan, yung kanyang composition. So these emulsions produce paper sensitive enough to be used for enlarging and contact printing. So kung kanina si chloride for contact printing lang, so much applicable siya kapag contact printing. Ito, pwede mo siyang magamit sa enlarging. So they produce warm black to neutral image tone by development, which can be varied using different developers. So it is one of the example ng kanyang end product using the chlorobromide papers. Again, sensitive enough to allow working under the enlarger. Sensitive enough siya as compared to chloride na magagamit mo lang siya through contact printing. So hindi mo siya magagamit through enlarging kasi hindi siya ganun nagre-react through the use of enlarging or enlarger na instrument. So again, chlorobromide, it requires relatively short exposure times. So as compared again to chloride, hindi mo magagamit to enlarger and it only requires a relative short exposure times. It yields or produces a warm black to neutral image tones. The bromide papers with pure silver bromide solution, ito is yung usually ginagamit, are sensitive and produce neutral black or cold blue pack image tones suitable for enlargement. It is a fast printing paper coated with silver bromide used mostly for enlargement. So neutral, this is the example, cold black, neutral black, cold blue pack image, and cold black neutral. So if this is a black and white color, so neutral black yung colors, o hindi siya katulad ng mga naunang papers and films natin. So example, this is the chloride papers na nag-yield or nagpo-produce, diba, ng brownish, yellowish to reddish na tone. Next is the chlorobromide, wherein it produces warm black neutral na images, while si bromide is a neutral black and blue pack images. So si chlorobromide, diba, warm, so neutral, warm black neutral, so medyo reddish and yellowish siya, but with black, neutral black color. While ito si neutral, si bromide, wherein neutral black with combination of the blue pack tone of image. So, according to contrast, madali lang naman to. So, Velox number 0, 1, 2, 3. 0 yung paper na gagamitin mo kapag ang kanyang negative is extremely contrast and extremely exposed. Alam nyo naman kapag extremely exposed yung film. Number 1, kapag high contrast yung negative mo, yung na-develop mo na film, or overexposed yung film mo. Number 1 ang gagamitin. And then number 2, Velox number 2, used for normal exposed film. So usually, for normal exposed films ang ginagamit. Number 2. Number 3 is used for negative with weak contrast or yung mga underexposed film natin. That is the photographic paper according to its contrast. And lastly, so familiar naman kayo dito, according to physical characteristics. According to its weight, we have single, double. To its surface, may glossy tayo, di ba? We have semi-matte, matte. The color na photographic paper, we have white or cream. So that is all about the photographic paper according to its physical characteristic, according to its contrast, and according to its chemical contents. So tapos na po tayo about the photographic film and the photographic paper.